Why did Alicent drink the moon tea in front of Mysaria? Explain. House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 5. Warning, spoilers ahead for House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 5. Have you ever wondered why Alicent would do something so shocking that it left viewers completely stunned? Why would she willingly drink the moon tea herself in front of Mysaria? At first, it looks like a strange decision that makes very little sense. But when you look closely at the political situation inside the Red Keep and the personalities involved, this moment becomes one of the smartest and most desperate moves Alicent has made in the entire series. This was never really about the moon tea. It was about protecting a dangerous secret before it could spread throughout the castle. In House of the Dragon, information can be far more dangerous than dragons. A single secret can destroy alliances, start wars, and decide who sits on the Iron Throne. That is exactly why Alicent reacts the way she does. She knows that if Mysaria begins asking the right questions, the truth could become impossible to hide. So why did Alicent take such a huge risk? Was she trying to fool Mysaria? Was she sacrificing herself to protect someone else? Or did she know that there was simply no other way to stop the truth from getting out? Let's break it all down. One of the biggest strengths of House of the Dragon has always been its political storytelling. The most important battles are not always fought with swords or dragons. Sometimes they happen inside quiet rooms where every word, every glance, and every moment of silence can completely change the future of the realm. That is exactly what happens here. Alicent finds herself in a position where every decision carries enormous consequences. She is trying to protect a secret while standing in front of one of the most observant people in Westeros. That alone makes the situation incredibly dangerous. Mysaria has never needed royal blood to become powerful. Unlike the great houses, she built her influence through information. She understands people better than almost anyone else in King's Landing. She knows when someone is nervous. She knows when a story changes. And most importantly, she knows that people often reveal the truth while trying to hide it. That makes her one of the most dangerous people to deceive. Alicent understands this as well. She knows that simply giving an explanation may not be enough. If Mysaria continues asking questions, the conversation could become even more dangerous. Every answer might create another question. Every attempt to explain could create another suspicion. So Alicent chooses a completely different approach. Instead of relying only on words, she decides to use actions. Psychologically, this is a fascinating moment. Human beings naturally trust actions more than explanations. Someone can say almost anything. But when they are willing to act on their own words, people are much more likely to believe them. Alicent understands this instinct. If she simply claims that the moon tea belongs to her, another person might still doubt her. But if she drinks it herself, that explanation suddenly appears much more believable. It becomes physical proof rather than just another statement. At least that is what Alicent hopes. From her point of view, this is the fastest way to end the conversation before it becomes even more dangerous. It is a desperate gamble. Because once she drinks it, there is no taking that decision back. What makes this scene even more interesting is that Alicent is forced to make the decision almost immediately. She does not have time to prepare. She cannot leave the room to think. She cannot consult anyone else. Everything depends on how quickly she can convince Mysaria that there is nothing suspicious happening. That pressure changes the way people think. When someone feels trapped, they stop looking for the perfect solution. Instead, they look for the quickest solution. That is exactly what Alicent appears to do. She chooses the one action that she believes will instantly support her story. Whether it truly works is another question entirely, because Mysaria is not an ordinary person. She has spent years surviving by watching other people make mistakes. She understands that lies often become more complicated than the truth. When someone starts changing explanations or trying too hard to prove something, it usually means there is a reason behind that behavior. This is why the scene feels less like a conversation and more like a psychological chess match. Neither woman raises her voice. Neither woman threatens the other. Yet every second feels incredibly tense. Alicent wants the discussion to end. Mysaria wants to understand why Alicent is so determined to end it. That difference creates all of the suspense. Another fascinating aspect of this scene is what it tells us about Alicent herself. Throughout the series, she has always tried to present herself as calm, disciplined, and in control. Even during moments of political crisis, she usually thinks several moves ahead. Here, however, we see something different. We see a woman carrying enormous pressure. She is trying to protect her family. She is trying to prevent another political disaster. She is trying to stop dangerous information from spreading through the court. All of those pressures come together in one single moment. And instead of choosing words, she chooses sacrifice. Whether viewers agree with her decision or not, it demonstrates just how much she believes is at stake. It also reminds us that the burden of leadership often forces impossible choices. The audience may focus on the moon tea itself, but the real story is not the drink. The real story is fear. Fear of discovery. Fear of scandal. Fear that one hidden truth could trigger consequences that no one can control. House of the Dragon has explored this theme repeatedly. Every family in the series hides something. Every major political player keeps secrets. Every ruler believes they can control information forever. Yet history within this world repeatedly proves the opposite. Secrets always find a way to escape, sometimes through spies, sometimes through betrayal, sometimes through simple observation, and sometimes because someone as intelligent as Mysaria notices what everyone else misses. That is exactly why Mysaria remains such an important character. She does not need dragons to become dangerous. She does not need an army. Her greatest weapon is patience. She watches. She listens. She connects details that appear meaningless on their own, but become powerful once they are placed together. That ability has allowed her to survive in a world where far more powerful people have fallen. The contrast between Alicent and Mysaria also reflects two very different kinds of power. Alicent represents traditional authority, royal blood, duty, status, the expectations of the court. Mysaria represents information, observation, intelligence, influence earned rather than inherited. When those two forms of power collide, the result is never predictable. Sometimes a crown wins. Sometimes knowledge wins. This scene leaves that question unanswered. Did Alicent successfully convince Mysaria? Or did her willingness to drink the moon tea simply reveal how desperately she needed the secret to remain hidden? That uncertainty is what makes the moment so memorable. Even after the conversation ends, viewers are still debating whether Alicent truly protected the secret or whether Mysaria quietly understood much more than she allowed anyone to see. It is a perfect example of why House of the Dragon continues to deliver some of television's most compelling political drama. Without a single battle or dragon fight, the series creates enormous tension simply by placing two intelligent women in the same room and allowing them to test each other's instincts. Sometimes the quietest scenes had the biggest consequences. And this may prove to be one of those moments. So what do you think? Did Alicent's decision actually fool Mysaria? Or did Mysaria leave the room already knowing that the moon tea was hiding a much bigger secret? Share your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more House of the Dragon breakdowns, hidden details, and ending explained videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.